story.
This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine, Gordon. Now, like most kids, Gordon gets zits once in a while. Okay, like a new one every hour. And he's tried everything. Every cream, lotion, pimple popper, or blister buster going. But when Gordon gets a zit, nothing seems to help. It just gets bigger and bigger until it erupts like Mount Vesuvius! Except oilier. Now, Gordon had this thing for a girl at school, but she had a peaches and cream complexion, while his was more like strawberries and oatmeal. So, knowing that he had absolutely no chance with her, Gordon worshipped Stephanie from afar. Very afar. Like restraining order afar. But one day, a miracle happened and Gordon had a good zit day. Only a few dozen on his back, and his face was zit-free. So Stephanie, who'd never even noticed Gordon before, casually sat down beside him at lunch. And before Gordon knew it, Stephanie was actually talking to him. Him! Gordon Russell, the Zit King! He was so stunned, he didn't know what to say. So he asked her out on a date to the amusement park, and she agreed. It wasn't until he tried to get to sleep that night, and he actually began to think about the date, that he was really freaked. He was gonna have to be entertaining for a whole entire evening? And what if she wanted a goodnight kiss? Now the sweat started pouring out, and with it came a big, fat oil refinery right in the middle of his face. The next morning, Gordon discovered the oozing pustule threatening to engulf his entire face, and he had a zit fit because he was also at a zit cream. By the time he got to the pharmacy, there were 2 more bouncing baby blemishes on his face, and Gordon didn't need an ultrasound to figure out that further bundles of joy were on the way. Now, Gordon could have either afforded his usual industrial-sized tub of pimple paste or the date with Stephanie, but not both. But as luck would have it, the pharmacist was working on an experimental instant zit reduction formula in the back room. Some people, they look at a zit and all they see is a giant pus module, he told Gordon. I look at a zit and see a giant source of revenue. But first, I need to test my preparation zid on a willing subject. So, with a long list of instructions from the pharmacist, Gordon rushed off to the amusement park to meet Stephanie. Now, at this point, Gordon only had a few minutes until the date, and his face was threatening to become carbuncle central. There was no time to worry about instructions. As he was rushing to the park, Gordon squirted a little bit of cream on one of the angry red blotches. Zilch, nada, 0. Okay, a little more. But the blotches, bupkis. No tingling sensation, no nothing. And as he looked at the reflection of his pock-marked puss in a store window, Gordon really started to panic, which causes another zit bulb to bloom. Okay, now it's serious. With no time to lose, Gordon ran into the amusement park washroom and started slathering it on. He squirts the whole tube on his head. But when he looked in the mirror, he was zittier than he'd ever been in his life. The pharmacist's cream did nothing. In Gordon's mind, there was only one thing to do. He'd have to run home and hide in his room, at least until he gets out of his teens. He looked out the washroom door, and unlike his face, at least the coast was clear. No sign of Stephanie. Maybe he could leave before anybody saw him. He ran right into Stephanie, who was coming out of the girls' washroom. Now she took one look at him and screamed. And then some other people in the park caught sight of him, and they started screaming. I didn't think I looked that bad, thought Gordon, at least until he got a look at himself in a mirror. And then he started screaming, because the zit cream took a little time to take effect. But when it worked, it really worked. The pimple cream dried out the pus all right, and then some. This was a true story. It happened to a friend of mine, Gordon. Now, he never got together with Stephanie after his head grew back to normal size. But he eventually did find a girlfriend with a complexion just like his. And you could say that Gordon and Yolanda are now each other's main squeeze.